Testing, testing. Hold on. Hey, what's going on, dear Morky? How's everything going with you, bro? Hey, welcome back. Welcome back. Thank you. Welcome back for you as well. All right, we're getting some last minute preparations here really quick, guys, before we get started here. Now, we're only going to be doing like a 2-hour stream here roughly on some last year. Now, this is another asymmetrical type deal. So, guys, a couple things I'm going to go over before we get started with the game. So most of you are already aware that, one, I am looking to get a new desk setup, guys. I really need a new desk setup. Maybe even get some different lighting. I don't know. We'll see. But in the meantime, definitely a new desk, maybe possibly a new chair. This chair is like over 5 years old. It's pretty much done for. In terms of comfort, I think it's really lost it. So I really need to work on getting a new chair for the stream. Especially if we're going to be sitting here for a long time. But the good news, in a matter of fact, is I am looking into those desks that goes up and down. I've been looking at this for over a year now, but I'm noticing that stores are actually carrying it. So I'm actually getting more of a visual of what these things look like in my face rather than just pictures on the internet. So it's kind of cool now because now I got like a full experience of like what they look like and what they're capable of, and in terms of like dimensions and whatnot for the desk. So it's actually really cool. So yeah, I'm definitely going to be looking into that. So it's either going to be a desk or a chair, one or the other, vice versa. And we are making the switch. So for those of you, we had a lot of you on Discord discussing this about making that AMD switch, guys, with the CPU. We're doing it. Okay, we are definitely doing it. I will have some old hardware parts, such as my motherboard, my CPU. I'm probably going to have to get some new RAM too, so we'll see. But I'm going to stick with my cooling system and power supply and all whatnot. I think I should be fine. So we will see. Yeah, but yeah, we'll figure out and see what things are going like with that, guys. But in the meantime, we're gonna go ahead and get started here with the game. Do I even have my volume up? I think we do. Yeah. You know, you guys are awesome. You know, I'm liking this free-to-play game lately. It's actually not too bad. In terms of FPS, I want to have FPS over quality any day, so I think we're going to go back into video settings here. We're rocking the 1080 instead of whatever. In this type of game, texture, ultra, of course, effects, I think we're just going to keep on high. Keep that on high. I'm not really seeing the purpose of ultra because everything is so fast-paced that it's not going to really matter, you know? Alright, and the game still looks awesome. I mean... And now we're hitting that 100 FPS solid rather than whatever it was doing earlier. So let's go ahead and get started here, guys. But yeah, Magic, join us up, bro. We are live over there. Let me just make sure that it's working. Hold on, bear with me. I'm checking right now as we speak. Yeah, it is, bro. Make sure you have your notifications enabled so you know when we're live. Yeah, we're up and running. We're looking good. Just wanted to double check before anything. But yeah, we're making that AMD switch, guys. I'm probably going to go with the Ryzen 3900X. I'm not really seeing the huge significant difference between the 3950 3900, so we'll see. I really want to go with it, and because of you guys, it's going to be happening. We're going to make the switch, so we'll see how that works out for anything. All right, so we're just going to wait on this queue here real quick, guys, and then we're going to get started here in just a moment. All right, guys, here we go. Looks like we finally got some survivors up in the match right now really quick. Do I have everything equipped? Well, I don't think it really matters for the hunter though, for the most part. All right, things are looking pretty good. All right. We're just waiting on 3 of the survivors to ready up here really quick. Now, pretty soon, guys, I'm going to go back to some single-player games. There's a lot of games I want to play. And I just want to clear up some hard drive space. I mean, I'm having games right now that are like 40 to 50, 60, 80 gigabytes. And it's taking up so much space. You know. But you already knew, Thomas. All right, let me mix this up real quick, guys. Looks like the round's about to start here. Let's go ahead and get started with this, guys. I haven't played in a while. Bear with me here. All right, it's showtime. First of all, we're going to choose the spider, of course. We're going to do strangler, and I'm thinking giant. Giant blob. Oh, he's angry. Look at him. Hey, what's up, Queen? How are you? Welcome back, by the way, guys. The spider looks so angry. Look at this angry spider. Showtime. Come on! Come on, stop hitting, go, 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 go! Why am I not hitting my attacks? What the hell? Whatever. Like, I don't understand why I'm lagging, dude. Hold on, settings. I'm about to change this. You don't lag as survivor. Only as a hunter. I don't understand. Let me change this real quick. This is so weird. It went amazing. That's good. That's good news. I gotcha. Okay. Finally, we took one down. Right, what's going on, boy? How are you, bro? Seriously? How'd she get out? Got her. Finally. Wait, what? Wait, what's going on now? I'm confused. Got her. There we go. Come on. Did we get them all out? So how many of these guys are around? Why is he letting go? Why does he keep letting go for? Like, I don't get what's going on here. Seriously? No, come on! Trick's getting mad like always. I know, the lag, bro. I never lagged this much on, like, as a survivor. Like, I don't understand what's going on here. Gotcha. Come here. Where did they go? Finally. Yeah, I don't know what the purpose of this this whole lag thing. All right, hold on. All right, where are they, guys? We gotta find out where they are. Wow, I walked right into that trap. It's just poor optimization. Yeah, it's bad, bro. It, like, as a survivor, it's cool. But as a hunter, I noticed that when... I don't know what's causing it. This is off the Unreal Engine. I should not be lagging. But we'll fix it, though. I think once I go AMD, maybe it'll go away, right? What do you guys think? Yeah, sorry about that, Queen. Hopefully... So that's crazy, though. Let's go with the giant. Seriously? Wow. Come here. Wow. Take him out, guys. Take him out. Oh my god. Got her out. You're not doing the objective on me. All right, here we go. Well, they got to do the objective anyway, so we're just gonna sit right here until we're done. No! Not nice to kill a female. Screw that. Congratulations on the 3 VIPs in the chat, guys. Getting those retro coins building up. I'll be doing another giveaway soon, guys.
Working on it.
Thanks for the help. I'll patch you up. I'm kind of...
Come on. Oh my god. Dude. Why is it not holding a grapple, man? What the hell? Let me unplug my controller, guys. I think my controller is letting go of the enemies. It didn't do this before until now. I'm unplugging it. That's every time I grab them, he just pushes them off. He doesn't even hold them like he used to, like he normally does. I'll have to check out the Clash matches, guys. That is a terrible round on me, man. Oh, that kind of irks me though, for real. Like, I'm not that bad. No. These type of games, I'm pretty good. No, I'm not liking that that terrible, embarrassing score there. All right, guys. So what's the workaround for this game? Because that lag is unbearable, and it only does it in the killer's point of view. Right. All right. Let's see how else we're looking here, guys. I couldn't believe they kept wasting 6 elixir on the rockets. Wow. So I'm thinking maybe it's you know, I'm gonna play around with something. Let's go to settings, right? Let's go to settings. Okay, let's look. All right, effects. Let's bump down the effects to medium. I'm gonna put shading on medium. Why not? Because I don't. Well, no, we keep it on high. It should be fine. Anti-aliasing. I think we're gonna keep on medium. Oh, there is no. Oh, okay. The rest of this shouldn't heavily take an effect. It seems like. I want to say this is like a particle issue, like when there's a lot of particles going on when you're playing as a hunter, it's all within your view. Now I can lower the field of view, which I guess we can. I thought we could. Oh, it's a problem with spawning from predator mode into killer mode. Gotcha. Maybe it's the reloading of textures, the way it's rendering. That could be the problem. But it wasn't that bad during beta though. All right, nothing's going to be on Ultra because I don't want to mess with that Ultra. Here we go. Let's see how this works. Hopefully this works out to be a little better. Yeah, what do you think, Jay? I'm going to go 3900 AMD, bro. I'm doing it. Threadripper is a bit overkill for me for what I'm doing, so I'm not doing that. And it's too expensive. Yeah, exactly. I was debating between the 3950 and 3900, but I think I'm still gonna stick with the 3900 because I think it's like $100 some cheaper. Now I'm gonna have to figure out what kind of RAM I'm gonna go with and what support. I don't know what supports go with AMD. Like, I don't know, can it do dual quad channel RAM, or am I just gonna have to do certain clock speeds on the RAM? I don't know. We're gonna have to look into this matter, guys. I'm gonna stuff my face here real quick, guys. Give me 1 second. Hold on. I'm still here with you guys. Don't worry. Don't you worry. Which one is the issue? First, the cheapest method is the wire. If you've already changed the wire, you knock the wire out the way. Right. For the 2700X, hey, that one's actually a pretty good processor. I looked at it. It's not bad for the price, dude. What, 150? Pretty damn good. But again, it's based on what you're going to be doing with it. If you're only gaming, you're getting good cores and everything. I didn't want to go 2700X because that's pretty much the same thing I have now with Intel. So that would just defeat the purpose of switching, really. I'll just be wasting money. Let's wait for the survivors to come in, guys. Oh, yeah. Well, in some aspects, yes, but it's not worth spending the extra money for something that's the same. And yes, Thomas is right. I am very cheap. And eventually, if we continue streaming, guys, I don't know. We'll see. Maybe I'll get a new mic. But right now, my mic is fine for what we're doing. There's no point of having a high-end, super top-notch studio microphone for just streaming. I mean, we're not really recording at such high quality levels anyway. You know what I'm saying? So that defeats the purpose. Now for YouTubing, oh yeah, you want to get the best quality mic you can because you can record at high, you know, quality. Streaming, you're limited. I think it's to like what, 92 kilobytes per second or something like that. Anything over that, you're just, oh, it's just, it doesn't matter.
So first, we find some fuel. After that,
I'm invisible? No!
wheel the lift across the gym and climb to the rafters. Then we escape.
Huh? Wow! Come on, come in. Got him. One down. Yeah, $3 is definitely way better than. Got her. Another one down. %, can't pass that up. Right, very true. Dang it, I missed it. Got her. Got them all, guys. Look at that. I like how it said someone was looking at you when she was running away. Right. How did she get up on there? Right. Yep. They desperately want people to play. Uh-oh. Very true, guys. Very true. How's everybody doing today, though?
I'm being held against my will. This cannot stand.
Okay. Good job on that, guys. Look at that.
I'm back and ready to get back out there. Hello?
Mm-hmm.
Anybody?
Right. Wait, somebody bought me Division 2? Who bought me it? Hold on. Did I read that right? What? Yeah, they're getting desperate. What they have to? Understand that this game went through a crisis. And they're trying to make a comeback, you know? Okay. Yeah, you bought it. Oh. Nah, I haven't gotten it yet. I'm debating between Xbox or PC. I don't know. I may not even do either one. Not sure yet. I don't know. Nah. All right, so Bori and Jay, you guys bought it for the PC, right? $3 is not a bad deal, though. For a game that wanted originally $50 for their product. Do both? Yeah, okay. Right, Thomas? Hopefully we'll get a match here soon, guys. All right, we get the gymnasium level, guys. How exciting is that? It's showtime. You know how I am, boy. Hey, guys, whoever gets me the game, hey, it's cool. You know I don't play the campaign unless we play it together. I'm very patient, and if that's something you guys want to do, we can do it. Just like Borderlands 2. We still have yet to complete that because I wait until we get our full party ready. You know? And speaking of that, I believe Division 2 is actually... I can play it on my phone, too, if I get it for PC. So that is actually a thing.
So first, we find some fuel. After that, we open up the gate, and we're home free. We wheel the lift across the gym and climb to the rafters. Then, we escape.
These are my favorite hunters. I don't really care for the slasher too much. That chicks, you right? Ooh, right. But boy, you don't have to do that, bro. You gifted a lot of games already. You can't gift on Uplay? It's not on Steam? What? Angry spider. Yeah. My 8 legs is hungry. I'm hungry. Got her. One down. Got him. Another one down. No! Chicks be leaving, y'all. What? 20 seconds. Strasberry, that's an interesting name. Oh boy, it's a long time for a respawn. Wow, 13 seconds is long. Oh, what the hell? You're pouring it on the ground. You're not even pouring it in a machine.
We're not done.
Oh, they're upstairs. We're in trouble. You better go back down there. Oh! Run away. Got him down.
I see the fuel. Hey, I got it.
Not a bad start. No, I'm something.
All right, I guess we're gonna go giant now.
The Nickinator 2000. Trap has been spotted.
Wow. Come on, man. The respawn is unreal. All right. She was in a dead end, so she was caught. Another one down and out. Come on. Wow.
Really don't want to do this.
Okay.
Oh no!
Another one down. No. Yo, Freddy Krueger in this game would be awesome. Borderlands 2, y'all need to play. We do, Thomas. Right. Yeah, that's crazy.
But we should find more.
All right, guys.
Maybe I can make something.
Got about 20 seconds to respawn. They got 8 minutes left to get this objective completed. If not, it's a win for me, guys. They're holding me down for sure. But why does my do I have to hold the when I play Strangler, do I have to hold the chain?
Now I've got something going.
Is that what's going on here? Like, why is he not holding it? Or did they just update it or something? My character's seriously not holding the Wow. Got her, finally. Yeah, it's not, he's not holding it. He keeps letting go, like, and it's annoying. Wow. Yeah, see, he keeps letting go. Come on, man. This is stupid. I don't get this. Like, why is it doing this? Oh my god, teleport! Come on, dude! Get the hell out of here. Nobody sees me. Alright, get up top. Hurry up. Why you keep letting go, man? Wow, when they added this shenanigans? Come on! Wow, that's all I'm gonna say is just wow on that. What the come on, dude! This is stupid. Whatever, man. Stupid. So stupid. Fix your freaking game. Oh my god, Kelso, thank you so much for the sub! Yo, what the hell's wrong with this game, man? Like, dude, I'm playing Strangler. You're supposed to hold the victim. It's never done this before. Where the hell is my mouse? Kelso, coming in. How many months is that now? 5 months in a row. Look at that. Spell check? Right. I thought maybe you were talking like Tabori or something. Dude. Aw, there you go. That's good. Did you get a good birthday gift? Oh, thank you. Okay. The Samsung spell check? Samsung is terrible for that. I know the struggle, man. I truly know the struggle of Samsung. Those auto corrections that they supposedly claim that they're auto correcting is like, what? There you go. That's a way to do it. You recently got the Note 9 for $347. It's Sounds about right, because what, the 11's out now, so yeah, it's 2 generations. Yeah, it sounds about right. Sounds like what they'll do it for. You'll probably get it now for about that price. I think my phone now is even cheaper. Honestly, the 9s are fine. I'm rocking the S9 Plus, and the 9 series it's good enough, man. Can't wait to get my new processor. This is shenanigans. I'm gonna be in debt with myself though, so we'll probably have to save up some stream funds. Welcome back. Let me see here, Samsung S9 Plus. What do we got here? No, not equals. Yeah, they sell it brand new for 600. Refurbished is about 300, I think. Hold on, I'm gonna put used. Shopping. Wow, they have the unlocked versions for like less than $200. What? That's crazy. Yeah, but the notes are a lot better though, for what I've heard. Yeah, thank you, Jay. Kelso, congratulations. Whoever gifted that, wait, who gifted that sub, by the way? Hold on, let me open this up so I can see better. Boy, gifted Kelso a tier 1 sub. Okay. All right. I see it now. You gave 7 gift subs in our channel so far, what is that? Seriously, man? Seriously, I'm busy right now. Where are these guys even going? Come on, man, really? Wow. Come on, how long you gotta take with that damn melee? Teleport out, dude! Here goes the lag again.
I shall vanquish
Break the damn machine, dude. Come on. Oh my God. The hell out of here. Whatever. 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 god, this freaking lag is annoying. So the Strangler's hold times has been reduced from 3 to 0.5 seconds. Wow, that's why. Nah, this stupid lag is annoying. Like, we're running off the Unreal Engine. How the hell are we lagging, bro? So Strangler is pretty much crap now. This new update with the Strangler pretty much made him garbage.
Hey, honey, can you not body block me and kill us both by a train, please?
Oh my god, teleport in! Whatever, man. Hit the damn dude, come on! Oh my god! What the hell? Oh my god, whatever, man, just come on. Wow, none of that hit. Okay, whatever. This is annoying, this stupid lag. Like, I can't play like this. I'm done. I'm done.
Really think you beat me?
No. No. Fix your damn game. That's what they need to do. Yep, I'm not buying it. I'll just play the free-to-play days.
Help me out.
Not doing it. It's not worth it. The lag is so real. Like, I'm not gonna waste my money. Oh.
I should be able to patch you up.
I'm not playing Strangler. He's garbage now, too. Oh my god, dude. Come on, man. Oh my god, seriously?
Asshole's coming back.
Whatever. Yeah, it's on Steam. Honestly, I think this game ran better when it was in beta. There we go. Come on. Yeah, I'm not gonna pick Strangler anymore. He's pretty garbage currently.
Holy shit!
Come on, man. Reach more, dude. I'm about to... There we go. Come on. We're gonna have to relearn this game, guys. Oh my god. Come on, man. This is annoying. All right, just move. Move out of my damn way. Teleport, dude. At least I held them up on the time really good. Whatever. Honestly, fix the lag and we'd be good.
We need to do this!
Whatever. It's okay, Thomas. I already ate, bro. You know what? Do I need to play this game on low? Is that what I need to do here? We'll dump Shadow back to medium, right? My GTX 1080 Ti. You telling me you can't handle this damn game? Okay, well, if that's the case, just bump things down, guys. Everything's down. We can bump that down if you want. Texture, we'll keep it on high. I'm not bumping that down any more than that. This, yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Yeah, it's annoying, man. Yeah, usually I always start with like shadows first. I know that's a pretty demanding texture. I even got anti-aliasing on medium now, and I got shadows on medium. So if it doesn't work by now, it's the game. Maybe we just need to play survivor matches. No, that's a good idea. That's a really good idea. Usually games will give you a pop-up message saying, hey, reboot the game, right? This one doesn't, so we're gonna try it again, guys, see what's going on here. So let's go ahead and try to reboot this game real quick. Alright, so we got about an hour left here to play. We got an hour of free time, guys. Yeah, might have to just do Survivor. Okay, so we changed settings, we rebooted the game. Let's see what happens. The lag is unreal. Like, I don't know. I'm on their Discord right now talking to them, and we'll see what kind of answer they give me here. But the message I put was, I don't know, the lag is unreal for me unless my GTX 1080 Ti or Intel 8700K, 32 gigabytes at 3200 megahertz RAM can handle this game. And I just got a confirmation that the Strangler's hold time was reduced from 3 seconds to 0.5. Holy mackerel. So definitely this game is starting to turn into like a Dead by Daylight. It's starting to become survivor focused. So the survivors get the perks, all the great stuff. The killers get nothing. Okay. And the Strangler was one of the best killers at one point. You know, what's up, Arthur? Welcome back to the stream. I'll have to check. Reminds me of Ark. Yeah, Ark was terrible for this, remember? You know what? There might have been something wrong with the game, because now I'm getting more frames at the main menu than we did previously. I think it's gonna run better now, maybe, hopefully. We'll see. Right. No, well, yeah. Well, okay. So what are your guys' recommendations? Yeah, I know how to change out the paste. I've never done a graphics card though, and I think I need a special screw for it, so I might have to get a screw. I'm not sure if it's a, because it doesn't look like a regular Phillips. You just got the worst survivor team. Well, I'll do one more killer if you want, Jay. I'll go ahead and do a round of survivor or two. Yeah, I think the game is gonna run better now. I hope. I really do. Hold on, guys. Ugh. All I know was my Ryzen CPU put thermal paste through hell. And the RX 980. Hey, what's up, Arthur? Arthur got that. Arctic Pace. I use well, I notice a lot of people use different ones, but I usually just go with the Arctic Silver 5, right? Seems to be the most recommended thermal out there. All right, guys, we're gonna be doing Bell Tower. No problem, since I added a GPU and a CPU liquid cooler. Right, so my CPU liquid cooler, I'm cool. I want to go hybrid cooler for my GPU. Right now, I just got the triple fan airflow. I'm not liking it.
We need to get some gears to get them moving again. After that, we'll still need to get to the top of the tower.
Should I be medic?
Oh yeah! Execute you, yes?
Yeah, I'll give you guys a little.
Yeah.
Are you coconut?
Coconut number. Oh,
Coconut!
It's coming.
Let's get it!
It's here, it's here. Oh my dick.
Got him. It's another one down. So lowering the settings seems that helped a lot. Oh, why was I talking in game?
Oh no, runs down. Runs down.
I've been executed, yep.
Got him. Isn't that lagging? Yeah, so far it's good. Flawless victory. See, no lag. I do much better.
Oh god.
I'm gonna keep shadows down to a minimum, but right now it is playable though, so that is good. All right, so everything's on medium, 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 and high. I can deal with. That's cool. I want to keep textures up as much as I can. I gotta lower the grass setting. We'll lower the grass setting, but I think we're good. So far, we're not getting that lag, guys, so that's perfect. Thank you, Kelso. Imagine how this shadows messes this game up in dark mode. Yeah, it is a really dark game, but I don't know. I think we should be okay for the most part. Um, looks great now, right? It does. It really does. All right. All right. So did you see that link I sent you guys? That's pretty much like what's going on now in terms of like GPU utilization and CPU and all that stuff. So you guys get kind of like an idea. I even got like my voltage levels on there too. And you guys can see my temperatures. All right. Well, we got to figure out what we're going to be playing later, guys. I did actually, no, they're not anymore. But I'm telling you right now, the fact that everybody, a lot of content creators such as Twitch and streamers and YouTubers are making the switch, and so are the consumers. Intel, I believe, now see that they're losing money. I believe that they were just trying to stretch out as much as they can with their current socket and starting to realize that it does have its limitations and it's at peak. You know, it's time to move on, create something new. Like AMD came out with that Zen 2 and the Threadripper, and it just killed Intel. Okay, in terms of benchmarking and FPS in games, I don't think the processor is really going to increase the like an incredible amount of frame rate, but it will keep it at a more stable frame rate. Rather, I get games jump from like 140 down to 110, 90, 80, and it's just like that fluctuation is just not allowed. Okay, not allowed. That's a big no. Right, but I am doing it, guys. I am going to go with the I think it's the AMD Ryzen 3900X. That's the one I'm going to go with, guys. I want the 12 cores, 24 threads. I don't need anything beyond it. I think that should hold me up for the next 5 to 10 years. But we know, I know Intel is going to come with the sneaky tactic, but I want to say since 7th gen, they haven't really done much else difference. And I think Intel got too cocky, where they knew they were in the lead of AMD. AMD just came in with a freaking sneak attack through the back door, like, you came out with the Threadrippers and the Ryzens, and just pooped on Intel. Oh shoot, yeah, we were supposed to do survivor matches. Jay, let me invite you real quick, bro. Hold on. My bad, bro. Oh shoot! Hold on, I got. Hold on, Jay. I was doing killer. My bad. Oh, whoops. That last match made you rage. I was looking at your temps. Did you get a new CPU? No, it's the same. It's the Here's what I have, guys. Let me make sure that's actually accurate. I don't know if I've updated this. I forgot we got new, what the hell are these called? What are these headphones? I don't know what the name of these are. You know what? My headphone software would tell me. Avoid Elite Wireless. Okay. You think slot breaks when you win? Wait, what? What did it just do? Yeah, lately nobody's been winning the slots, guys. So I do apologize for those entering. You are entering at your own risk. Think of it as like an alpha slots machine right now. So if you got the extra coin and you want to help me test it, that's fine. If not, don't do it, guys. I'm scared to test it with my own account because if I win it, I'm gonna feel bad. Well, actually, I'll just put it back into the slots. All right, here we go, guys. It's showtime. So today I went and washed the car, got all the salt off of it. Thank you, Star Masher. All right, here we go. So we're waiting for the next match here real quick, guys. Honestly, I do like this game. I'm gonna put it on my wish list.
So first, we find some fuel. After that,
Even though it makes me mad, I still like it.
we wheel the lift across the gym and climb to the rafters. Then we escape.
All right, who's going what? We got a tech, we got a medic, we got no technicians, and we got a scout. We got one of each. Double technician's pretty good. All right, let's go. Let's do it. Let's do it.
Get in, loser. We're escaping. Turret down. He won't know what hit him.
All right, so we're trying to get some scrap here, guys. Jeez, these guys ain't playing around. Yo, where the hunter at? He's hiding. So nobody's picking Strangler no more. But nothing happened. Yeah, some of the mini games are gonna be for subscribers / VIPs. You get VIPs with channel points, you get VIP for purchasing it with your retro coins, and you get VIP for being a subscriber. So there's many different ways to get it. All right, so these are coming back, which is good. I'm gonna go back up top here real quick, guys. Let's grab all the crafting materials we can. I don't think the hunter really comes up here no more. Well, at least not early game. And the crafting materials actually come back pretty quickly, to be honest.
Yes. Get ready for ambush.
Wow, that flamethrower crafted quick. So the spider was taken out, which is good.
Let me help. I'm going to medical. I'm a woman of many talents. Now what? Dr. Hammer?
We need to pour this in real quick, guys. I got the power.
It's in, but we need to find more.
It gave you your Twitch. It's not giving it to you. Oh, what the hell is wrong with Twitch? What are you doing? Twitch expired.
Need a hand? I've got 2. And a med kit.
Hey, what's going on there, King? How are you? Fired!
I can use these. Hey, over there! Get that fuel!
Yeah, make something.
Yo, where is this hunter at? We need to watch the ground. Okay, somebody's got to grab the fuel here. Dude, hold it. And he brought the killer to me.
Turret should help. Eaten by a girl. No surprises there.
Wow. Wait, what? I don't recall using it on my 23rd, but I apparently did. Ooh, did it show you used it? Make sure they're not lying to you, man. Nowadays, you never know.
Totally what I needed.
You might have saw like one awesome stream and you'd be like, yo, I'm at the sub, you know? It happens. I've done it before. Well, I forgot that I subscribed. I'm like, holy shoot, I subbed. Still got flamethrower left. We don't know. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All of us is here.
Oh, I am so ready for action. That freak won't know what hit it. Let me have...
All right, let's go, guys.
We need fuel now. We need to keep our eyes open.
Oh, mites, we gotta go. Why is everybody split up? We're good. We're good. All right, let's do it. I have to change that. So what I really wanted is where like the screen will show a minimum amount, but on the stream it doesn't. I had to adjust it because it's not working for me right now. It keeps showing like even 1 cheers. Let's grab the fuel and go.
Fuel, right there. Let's get the fuel and get fucking gone.
I don't need to breathe. Kick. Oh.
I know, right? Yeah, bear with me, guys. But thank you for reminding me, Star Mash. I do need to adjust that, actually. The hunt is going to be around here.
Let me grab this shit.
All right, let's deposit this really quick. All right, so what's the minimum right now, guys, so I can fix it? Is it 10 still?
Skip the dumb jokes, please. Turret down! He won't know what hit him! Finally! Ow!
Yeah, I don't know what this hunter is doing.
Dr. Amber, to the rescue.
At least the hunter can't spawn in here as long as we're holding down the... See, he couldn't spawn in.
Guess I can add texture.
Die, cover!
All right, let's gather all the materials we can here real quick, guys.
Need a hand? I've got two. And
So we don't use the majority of the gym no more. They removed it. Wow, look. And now instead of doors shut by the hunter,
now this is it.
Look here. I made an ass.
Here, we can put this out of the You need help? I've got a
oh, we can't stand on top of those? What?
This is totally what I needed.
Toasty! How many of you did that? Wait, what? Oh, you mean like in this game? Is that what you're talking about, Star?
Let's get that over.
That's good. Oh!
You're ready to die tonight.
Yo, I am low on health. Where the healers at? We got no healers. I'm dead.
Putting a turret here.
Let's get this close to being done.
I always
Don't touch the thing yet, guys. We gotta. Do we have everybody? Oh shoot!
I'll patch you up. I'm kind of a pro.
All right, let's all go back real quick.
Almost done. Come on.
Oh my God! No! Wow! Randoms.
So fucking close now.
Need a hand? I've got two. And a med.
Move! Oh my God, man! Like, who started the? Dumb, man! So stupid. This person's only worried about themselves. See, look, they're playing solo.
Turret down. He won't know what hit him. Help! Fire! Let me help you.
Wow.
People, let's get the hell out
This player shouldn't have touched the valve. Now we only got 4 when we could have had a full team. No, we all escaped. Wow, we got lucky. We got super lucky. Holy, scared the crap out of me. I didn't think we were going to do it. I thought only 4 of us were going to make it. And then if the other person would have went down... I don't know. Somebody made... I don't know how they got rescued and ran there in less than 50 seconds. But however they did it, I don't even care. Good job. That scared me. I thought only 3 of us were going to make it. But then the hunter did kind of focus on us because we were escaping. So that gave the other person a chance. I kind of get where that tactic worked. But 50 seconds, that cut it real close. That cut it real close. All right. Yeah, I lit the thick spider on fire. Right. All right, let me take a look at a few things here real quick, guys. So for alerts, what do I have here? Bear with me. I think I have... Time goes really fast, guys. Really, really fast. All right, let's see what we got here. We have that spider was on fire. Right? Spider was on fire. It's the way it rose, man. All right, so let me look at a couple things here really quick, guys. Bear with me. What's the... Huh. Oh, somebody follows. It's quiet, which is good. That's what I like. Okay. Yeah, 10,000 cheer bits. I'm just testing, guys. Give me a second. Why does that look like this, though? Oh, I have it set to this. Okay. Does anybody have one cheer on them? One cheer bit? Like, don't send it yet, though. Give me a second. I want to test something really quick. I want to change it. Wandering is still down. It's been down since last night. Like, it's so depressing. I think I have the server IP on here for it. Hold on. I think it's WRP. Yeah, guys, if you play GTA 5 and you're looking for a really cool public server, definitely check that out. Bear with me here. What do we have? I know we have the all right, who has one chair? Go ahead and send it now. I just want to see what happens here. And actually, I could change this. Okay, anyway, what was I doing? I don't remember. It's still 10? Really? It still says 10 minimum. All right, let me take a look at it again. I probably had to restart the stream. Well, we could probably start a match while I'm doing this. I'm going back in now. Let me double check it again. Bum 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 bum. God, why does it still say 10? Minimum. No, it won't let me do one. Okay, now, how about now, guys? Any luck? Yeah, see, that's what I wanted to stay away from, was that. Why is this showing? See, I didn't want the one chairs to keep popping up like that. Yeah, see that can get crazy. Okay, hold on. Come on, man. Look what the. What else is it then? It's got to be one of these. Let me check one of these real quick, guys. Whoa. All right, let me check this out really quick. What time is it? Oh. Okay, can somebody throw a chair again? I'm sorry, guys. And it's only one chair, so it's not too. I think I'm asking you to like throw a penny at me. Instead of JC pennies, we're gonna call it Trixie pennies. Right. Those drop on the screen. Ooh, yes, they do. Oh, Jay, thank you. Look at that, I like that. Yo, how much editing can you guys do with that? Like, is it really cool? Some, ooh, right? It doesn't show, but it still made the alert. Okay, I know what the problem is there. Now we should be good. Okay. All right. All right, so we're going to go ahead and try to make this last match count, guys. Last round, I think we did pretty well. Are we ready for this, guys? Did you make my emoji in black and white? Yo, how many times did you edit it? Hold on. What the? Got this. Got the black and white cartoon. Yo, you guys are amazing. So I can't believe it. The server is still down. That is crazy. Guys, if you're not part of our Discord, be sure to check it out, guys. Oh, we're doing Sawmill. You know what? I bet you what it is. Everybody was complaining about the Strangler. I'm not going to lie. I was one of them. The fact that he can just hold you and just take you out so easily. Thank you, Star Masher. Trixie pennies. 2007 pennies. Right. All right, the game is actually loading really good, like really, really good. I think we're gonna be all right, guys. So who's gonna join me when I get that new PC setup, guys? All right, who's going what? Who's going what? Let's do this. All right, let's go. All right. Yeah, last night I died because I was a strangler and let go of the walker into the saw. Right, right. Yo, that is crazy, dude.
Not bad. I think I could build something.
again. Seriously?
Up and now let's go.
Yeah, see, he can't grab us for very long, which is good. Let's go for the rescue.
Getting you. 1 sec.
It's what happens when I don't have a dedicated GPU. I'm over here with the laptop that barely runs GTA. Oh, yeah. But you know what, though? Welcome to my pain, because I have a decent setup, but it doesn't run 5M at all. Like, literally. It's poo. We got a crowbar here. Oh no, somebody's down, guys.
Don't speak!
Okay, I can use this.
Careful, he's over here.
Give me a second.
Let's get the other survivor out here, guys. By the way, I'm Jerry Dingo. Oh, okay. I thought you were the Elementer or something like that. Ooh wee. Yeah, this person's moving pretty quick. I didn't know we can move that fast. Wow. Got him. Yeah, we need to hurry up, guys. No, I know, I saw, but I think I saw your deputy already filling it out though. And plus, I wasn't able to edit that form. It wouldn't let me edit it. You have to send me the one I can edit. Ooh, he almost grabbed me.
This will come in handy. Oh, rush the motherlode.
I'm trying to make it to where he can't spawn too much of anywhere. Oh, okay. Yeah, I couldn't edit either.
Time to even the odds.
That don't make no sense. Why would they send you one that you couldn't edit when it's your own file? That don't make no sense, dude. Usually, everyone sends me one and I'm ready to edit right away. Yeah, you just got to make sure you share like an edited version. If not, you can just. You really need to watch it, guys. He jumped off. No, we gotta be careful, guys. Okay, he's over there, which is good. Let me hurry up. 40 quick, 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 quick.
Decent workout.
Let's make a Molotov here real quick. No. No, we need to stick together, y'all. Oh, he's in there. Come on! Seriously? How do I get one hit, man? Okay, I don't understand. When people plays him, they throw you one hit, you're down. Me, I sometimes gotta hit the person 2 times after throwing them. You just asked to send me one? Okay, yeah, no problem. Oh man, I was taken down, guys. All right, so this is probably going to be the final round, and then we're going to take a break, guys. Unfortunately, I have to head out. The chainsaw did nothing. I never had a chainsaw yet. I don't know how good it is or not, you know? But yeah, I got you, Star Master. Don't worry. Did we lose? Wow, we lost. We all died. I get more points as a killer, man. Like I'm getting like pocket change with playing Survivor. He just jumped into the saw and killed himself. Yeah, probably take you guys out. All right, guys, we're gonna go ahead and back up. We had a really good run with the game. Granted, in the beginning, it gave me a lot of anxiety due to the fact of the lag. But if shadows is really that huge of a factor, I had to bump it down, guys. We had to bump it down. And games, like honestly, because it's an Unreal Engine game, I should be running this game on ultra everything with no problem. This graphics engine does not push my GTX 1080 to the max. There's no RTX or anything, so there's nothing that should be holding me back. And I'm only doing 1080p. So I am sustaining a higher frame rate, but the thing is, like, it's the game itself. It's the developers. They really need to work on their end, on their part. Okay, so, guys, that's going to be it. I don't want to start another round because I do have to head out. So if you guys have any questions in chat, let me know now. Before we head out, we can do some Q&A real quick. And, you know, I know a lot of you guys were talking about the Division 2 game being $3, which is not bad. I might just skip it this time around. Maybe it'll go on sale again. We'll see. I'm not really sure how that's going to go about with that. The sewer? What do you mean with the sewer? He committed sewer slide. Gotcha. Okay, okay. Let's see what we got here, guys. Let me check PayPal really quick. Yeah, I don't think we're going to be able to. Wrong one. I don't think we got anything from Twitch yet because we haven't hit that minimum requirement yet. Nope. Okay. Ooh. Oh well, that would have been a pretty cool game to play on our phone, so I could have played it on mobile too. Man, server's still down. Unbelievable. No, it wasn't another hacker. I think they're having issues with their server with 5M. So like something about flushing. Every like 1,000 view, you have to flush the server. Some weird something like that. I'm not a developer on 5M, so I don't really get into that like that type of like I don't really get in depth with all that. But yeah, I think it's like a pretty sure it's like every 1,000 viewer you have to flush it. Never been a server owner on 5M, so I have no idea. Get the tricks game. Get this game. Oh my god. Get tricks the game. Why was that like a tongue twister? I couldn't even read that. That's where you're at. It's okay, Bori. Nah, Bori, you don't have to look, bro. I'm actually gonna head off right now, guys. I do have to get out of here. I think the server's actually. Are they doing a community meeting or what are they doing? I don't know. Do I stream it? I stream 5M sometimes. I don't really stream GTA 5 live because unless I know there's some really good RP going on. But I'm not trying to be mean, but sometimes I don't want to put the wrong impression on the server. So streaming it sometimes is not the best thing to do. I do stream it though sometimes. But it's at random. There's no like set day or time slot where I do stream GTA 5. I do kind of just play it on my own time because I tend to go AFK a lot. I'm not even gonna lie to you guys. So I don't want to like stream that I'm AFK on GTA 5. Like you'll just see me sitting in a corner in my own head. Everyone else has the 1-year badge, right? Yeah. Well, another thing too is they have that streaming rule, which kind of sucks because then nobody's gonna really want to do it. Like I understand it can cause metagaming, but the players should know better than not to do it. You know what I'm saying? But like, if you're streaming, and people are watching me, I can't stream on Wandering because I'm streaming and you're in my channel and that can cause me to get banned. So I understand why that rule's in place, but I think it should only, maybe people with the streamer role should be allowed to. Because one, you're advertising the server, but how are you going to advertise the server but then I punish yourself for having your viewers watch you play the game and maybe even want to join the server with you? So it kind of goes, I don't know. You know, like I said, I know why they do it, but at the same time, it's kind of like, I think the risks is worth more than what they're trying to do. But it's not my server, so I'm not going to go against it. So I just don't like the rule too much. Yeah. Other servers don't care. You could stream it, have your viewers on it. They don't give a crap. If anything, you're advertising their server, so they appreciate it. And two, you're having a fun time with your viewers. You know, your viewers come in with you and you're all having a great time. And yes, you should not be metagaming. I totally get it. You know, definitely. Right. Okay. All right. So the Division 2 is something that you guys really want me to get. Let me know. I'm going to go ahead and save some money up to the side like that with our PayPal, with our stream funds and take it from there. Already, I'm super negative, guys. I can't buy no more games. Not right now. I can't. Like right now, I'm focused on getting like, I really need to get a new like computer parts. And honestly, this chair, it's got to go. It's time for a new one. So, you know, we'll see what's going on with that. But yeah, if you guys have any other questions, just let me know. I am about to head out of here. I appreciate you guys hanging out with me. Today we had Star Masher coming in with some cheer bits. Thank you so much. Really appreciate those. And then we had Bori coming in with that gifted sub though, guys. Bori with the gifted sub. Congratulations to Kelso for the gift subscription from Bori216. Bori has not done it once or twice. Bori has done it 7 times. 7 total times. So that means even if you're in channel lurking, guys, you can get a random gifted sub without even realizing it. So it's good to just hang around. Even if you're not here, just keep that chat tab open, guys. All right, so Chicks is out of here. Thank you so much for everything. Jay, thank you for showing me this game, bro. I'm going to try to get one more day on it. But until then, I'll catch you guys at the next broadcast. I'll see you guys. Bye-bye.